Hello and welcome back to the channel of Motorbike Nonsense. I'm Tim and I'm halfway through a long weekend around Europe. The idea being that I can show you how much fun and naughtiness you can have in a long weekend over in Europe. Now, I've already done part one of this video where I explored the Vosges Mountains and the Alsace region of France. Today, I'm going to go north to do the northern Vosges, a bit of history, and also get into Germany, although this will mostly be a French video with a little bit of Germany at the end. So yeah, we're all aboard the BMW M1000R. I've got 207 horsepower, I've got a tank bag, I've got a rucksack, I've got a camera. I'm going to take you along for the ride, and it might get a little bit dark in this episode. Apologies for that, but there are some things in this area that I think are worth seeing, and we have to take it seriously. So yeah, let's get going. I've just realised how knackered and awful I look. I keep getting offered like collaborations with like facelift schemes from China. I might actually take them up on the offer. Look at those bags. Anyway, look at those bags. Let's hit the road. Hello from the woodshed of M1000R Dreams. Have I taken the disc lock off? I have. Right, let's hit the road to the northern Vosges. Au revoir, Alan, and your very nice Airbnb. I had a place for 10 people all to myself, which sounds like some kind of massive flex, but yeah, if you've watched previous videos you'll know I wasn't actually meant to be alone on this trip. I was meant to be here with my father, but he had a bit of a mishap on the way to Eurotunnel. But anyway, let's stick the BMW connected navigation screen up, because that's what I've been using, because my Garmin has shut itself. Right, yes, the plan for now is a little half-hour ride to something called, well, a place called Natzweiler, in German, Natzweiler. And you know, when the Germans have changed the name of a place from its local dialect to their own, they probably did something bad there between 1933 and 1945, and that is no different in this case. Natzweiler is one of the smallest concentration camps the Germans set up, and it was set up on French soil, in the kind of bit between France and Germany anyway, and it was one of the first to be discovered by the Allies at the end of 1944, I think. And it's yeah, if you're British, there's a bit of a link there for you as well, because it is the place where I think it's 4 female Special Operations Executive Agents, SOE agents. They're the sneaky beaky sort who managed from an office on Baker Street and then dropped in behind enemy lines to basically spy, organise resistance and sow dissent. 4 female ones met their end in the crematoria at this camp. So I've read a big book about it years ago, and essentially this it's obviously a horrible period of history to deal with anyway, but it's an especially grim story for these ladies, the way they were found out and met their end. And there's a great book, I'll stick the name of it up because I can't remember it, about this lady who essentially was the handler for these agents. And I think she managed like 80, 120, something like that, female agents to drop into enemy territory in World War II. And at the end of the war, she came over to Europe immediately, as soon as the war ended, to try and work out what happened to her girls as she saw them. And that's where she ended up following a trail to Natzweiler, found some witnesses from other prisoners in the camp and found out how they met their end. So anyway, that's where we're going. Sorry, immediately depressing, but I think this stuff is vital to learn about so it doesn't happen again. Look, there's a train up there. There you go, that's a nice little diversion. But anyway, we're gonna do some country roads undoubtedly, and I'll see you there. I'm on the right side of the road, aren't I? Yes. Well, I've only come about 3 miles down a dirt road since I last saw you, but it's spat me out on this. Oh yes, just getting to places is fun in this part of the world. Just look at this, super smooth tarmac, proper sweepers, happy days. Loving life, even with that van coming across me. Whee! It's like the old joke, isn't it? What happens if you're walking through the forest and you come across a lion? Wipe it off and say sorry. Wow, I bet this is popular with local bikers. You can probably just get your knee down, left, right, left, right. It's at this point in the morning that I wish YouTube had smell-o-vision, because it smells like the inside of a pine furniture workshop here. It smells very refreshing. It smells like one of your nan's fancy candles. Right, I've just made it to Natzweiler-Struthof concentration camp, and this was one of the smaller concentration camps in the evil Nazi empire. It was opened in 1941 when Heinrich Himmler realized there was a rich vein of pink granite on the mountaintop nearby, and they wanted to mine it for building projects within the Third Reich. So this was built, but it later became a place where mostly French resistance fighters were sent to be disappeared, to be executed, as part of what was called the Nacht und Nebel program, kind of a, night and fog. So just completely disappeared, brought out here and executed, either by hanging firing squad or as a gas chamber as well. So they think about 20,000 people died here or within one of the 70 sub-camps of Natzweiler-Struthof. So yeah, they kind of spread out into Germany, sub-camps of this location. Now, it's often tempting to think of these places as kind of done deals. They're restored, they're here for generations to look at, but this place is still giving up its secrets. Back in, I think it was 2019, I was chatting to a guy at the gate. They had a girl working here on a summer job, and she was down at the bottom in the ash pit, kind of preparing the ground for the planting of new flowers. And she found a silver bracelet, which had the name Habkud on it. And that belonged to an RAF Lancaster crewman who was captured in July, I think, 1944. He bailed out, his Lancaster crashed it, and the Gestapo brought him straight here and executed him. But apparently they were in a rush getting ready to evacuate the camp in the face of the Allied advance, and they never really properly hid his remains. So yeah, they found the family, the Habgood family. They live in London now apparently, and they came out here, I think, in a special ceremony in 2021 to, well, commemorate where their relative was murdered by the Gestapo. So this place is still giving up its secrets, and the chap that works here, he said in winter, once the ground has frozen and then thawed, stuff comes to the surface as the ground softens. So he's found coins, buttons and all sorts since he's been working here. So yeah, history is still coming to the surface, quite literally. So hopefully you can see these big patches of brown. That's where the barrack blocks were. There were two on each tier going down, with these roll call squares in the middle. And the roll calls were obviously especially awful times. That's when anyone who died during the night had to be carried out and be counted, essentially. And that's also where you had to stand for hours, 3 times a day, to be counted to see if anyone had escaped. But obviously, so when they would also mete out punishment as well. So occasionally they would bring out the gallows and apparently would randomly pick people to be hung. That's where they would meet their end, and everyone had to look at attention and stare at the person being hung. They would be beaten if they didn't. Then they all had to file past one at a time. Now, I'm not really sure how steep these steps look on camera, but they are incredibly steep. These were built by the prisoners using granite from the nearby quarry where they were mining the pink granite, and I wouldn't feel particularly great about having to walk up them as a reasonably fit adult now, but imagine being completely malnourished, almost worked to the point of death, and then having to march up and down these as a form of punishment. It's just, again, unspeakably grim. And over here we've got the symbol of the French resistance to represent the resistance fighters and the maquisards who met their end here, and just taken away and disappeared. All right, we're at the bottom of the camp now, and down here we have the ash pit. So the ashes that weren't used for fertilising the gardens of the SS were dumped into this pit, along with all of the toilet waste, the all the human waste from the camp as well. And this is where that silver bracelet was found a couple of years ago by a girl that was sorting out these flowers. Right, we're now in something called the bunker, which is kind of like a prison within a prison. You've got 20 cells in here where people would be sent, not for solitary confinement, because they would fit 20 people into each one of these. And if I go in one, you can see they're pretty small spaces for 20 people. And again, they would have been starved for days at a time, beaten, flogged, and they had a special bench for beating people on, which we'll get to in a second. Now, if that wasn't grim enough, being put into one of those cells, each one of these metal doors hides, I can't remember what they call them, but little squat spaces where you couldn't stand up and you couldn't sit down, and you were just forced to sit there in solitary confinement. I've seen these at Auschwitz before, and it's basically the ultimate form of solitary confinement punishment. So we're about to go into the crematorium at the bottom of the camp. So half of this was used for accepting new admissions into the camp. They had showers, they would be disinfected, they would have their heads shaved in there. And this half is where they burned the bodies of the dead, and they also had cells for executions as well. And this is where the 4 SOE agents, female SOE agents, met their end by lethal injection, although one of them didn't fully die by the time they got her in the crematorium. And she burned to death instead, so let's go and have a quick look. So each body was given 30 minutes to burn, during which point it heated this water tank up here to feed the showers on the other side. We've got a memorial over here as well to the 4 SOE agents. Andrei Borel-Virlet, Sonia Olszewski and Diana Rowden. And I guess this is the hoist for winching corpses up from the morgue. Honestly, this place is mind-boggling. Hopefully it's not been too grim, but if you're never going to be able to come here, I thought I'd just show you what it is.
Oh, okay, back on the bike, heading to the north of the Vosges Mountains now to explore that part of the world, because I've just never been there. Then I'm going to hop up into Germany. God, there's still so many remnants of concentration camp buildings here. That's the quarry down there. Now, one thing that did strike me, that I've seen both in the World War I trenches in the video before this, and also just at Natzweiler-Struthof just now, is everywhere there is a message along the lines of people came to this concentration camp from 30 countries, or were sent there from 30 countries in Europe, and all of them say, well, most of them seem to be saying that it's only once they're in a concentration camp they considered themselves European, because they were all pushed together and all forced to exist together. And there's lots of shtick about how that is a good basis for perhaps a European Union. But no, it's interesting, isn't it, how like the Second World War brought Europe together in a way that hadn't been before, and they thought, oh, do you know what, being together is better than being separate. But anyway, oh, no way. This lay-by, I've got history with this lay-by, not in a sexual way, but it is slightly sexual. It was one of the best days of my life. This is the car park where I brought, this is a massive clang, which you've probably been bored of if you watched the channel before. Just about here, I parked up in a Bugatti Chiron, and the police came and had their photos taken with it. So I'm just going to get a photo of this. What are the chances? Probably quite high, but whatever. Oh, phone's on the bike. Phone's on the bike, dickhead. I thought I recognised these roads. That was October 2021, just before Drive went bust and I lost my job. I got invited out to Bugatti to drive a Chiron Pure Sport. And yeah, just took it out on these roads and treated it like any other supercar, except one with 1,500 horsepower. And it was, honestly, it almost made me tear up a little bit, almost made me a little bit emotional, because it felt so good to drive. It felt really connected to the road, like the very best Porsches. But obviously it made you feel sick in between corners, the amount of torque that it had. 4 turbochargers, an 8-litre engine, and it was a very special day. It kind of felt like I'd peaked in the world of car journalism. I'm never going to get to do that again, and I was aware of that at the time. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun on these roads. It felt really alive and really usable for something that costs, the one I drove was 4 million euros, with the options and all the stuff it had on it. And it was, I had to share the driving, not share the driving, I had to be accompanied by a Bugatti test driver who was an ex-French Formula 1 driver from the 1980s. Not a very successful one, admittedly, I don't think. I can't remember his name. And he took us out first and he warmed the tyres up, because it was a cold October day. And it was on Cup 2 tyres, really track-focused tyres. And he warmed the tyres up by launching from 0 to 150 miles an hour, whatever that is in kilometres an hour, 200 and something, and back to 0 again, hard on the brakes, on a road like this. So on a straight like this, you'd be able to get up to 150 and back down easily. Fine, I could do it on this bike as well, but this is a car we're talking about. and then I took over and had a go, and it was just you kind of felt comfortable pushing it, booting it out of corners, overtaking everything in sight as if you're on a motorbike. They made all these amazing whooshing noises, and the turbo sucking air in and turning it into forward momentum. It felt alive, it felt magical, and it's probably the most special car I've ever driven. And you see them and you think, oh, I wonder if that's boring to drive. It's not. It's incredibly intense and very connected to the road as well. But anyway, not a car channel, motorbike channel. And I've got lunch in 47 kilometers when we hit the Northern Vosges mountains. Not mountains, the Northern Vosges region. I don't think there are any mountains, I think it's rolling hills. But I don't really know, we'll see when we get there. So there's definitely been a change of scene as we head northwards. It's all flattened out a bit, got lots of these big wide valleys between rolling hills and fields of sunflowers, which are mostly wilted because I guess it's been so hot. Maybe they're just done with life. There's a few bright yellow ones in the mix, but it is 30 degrees and there's no shelter from the sun here at all in this valley. We've still got some mild twistiness though. The roads are a little bit narrow though, and the surface is not the best, but it's still a lovely place to come on your motorbicyclette, albeit with the patchy tarmac. No, make it look really dramatic on my GoPro. Well, no, bang my GoPro on the tank bag. Not very good at drama. How delightful! Oh, look at this! How beautiful! It's a vineyard and some rolling hills with an unnecessary swoopy road through the middle of it. Lovely. I should take a photo really, but I cannot be bothered. I'm too hot. This is a very pretty town. It's got a fortified church apparently. I don't know if that's it. It's a Sunday, so everything will be shut, so even the fortified church. God, 2 churches! Greedy town. We would never normally come here really, but it's just a beautiful place to pass through. And it's just different, isn't it? Seeing the world, seeing different, slightly, not massively different ways of life to what we have in the UK, but it's different all the same. Lots of flowers. And a GoPro that is shitting itself. As I hunt down a unique dish that is only made and produced in this area. I'm very excited about trying it. I've heard some great things. It's a mixture of chips and a burger. I think they only sell it at one particular local brasserie type place, like a French version of an Italian trattoria, and it's said to be so delicious it can make you cry, which is very exciting. Oh, there's a McDonald's up. I'm just going to go there. Say what you want about McDonald's and the Golden Arches, but their air conditioning is always good, and their food is always exactly the same everywhere, which is sometimes all you need. So I filled up, I've got petrol, I've got nuggets. All I need now is to go carve up some twisties on my way to Germany through the north of the Vosges mountains. Now, because I am basically an unreformed child, I am leaving France via Bitch. I'm going to Bitch, and once I've gone through Bitch, I need to make sure I'm 100% in Bitch first. That's an old Porter Robinson reference for anyone that listens to old EDM music. I'm going to go to Trier on the Autobahn. Hopefully there's some de-restricted sections, because I do quite fancy trying to max this thing out, because I've had it up to 150 and I want to see if it will go any faster, which is exciting for me, probably not to watch. Just gone past the sign welcoming me to the region of the Northern Vosges mountains, and as soon as we came over the hill where the sign was, instantly some hills and some woodland, and it's kind of like a bit flat here but some hills in the distance. So I still really don't know what to expect. I'm not sure which way I'm heading, but I've set a route kind of straight through the middle. Yeah, bear with us, we'll be playing it bit by ear. If I see anything super pretty, I'll stop, I'll send the drone up and try to make it look nice. Okay, I've just picked up the D133, I think west of Dosheim, the Heim where you go to Dos. And it feels like one of those classic kind of valley bottom roads that I think follows a river, just because it gently sways this way and that, very smooth tarmac. It's a Sunday, it's pretty empty, apart from a couple of cyclists. I don't know, it's not spectacular, but it's better than anything I've got in Surrey. Super smooth, like a baby's bottom. One that you're happy to ride your motorbike on. If you want to ride motorbikes on your baby's bottom, it's against NHS guidelines, I believe. And child protection might come and get you. This feels a lot like some of the roads near the Nürburgring in Deutschland. Little wheelie off that crest. Delicious. This bike is so damn easy to ride. The brakes are so good, the chassis. There's oodles of feedback. Big fan of the M1000R. The blipper is solid as a rock. Look at that. Gorgeous. Rock face or rock overhang. It reminds me of my jawline in some ways. Not many ways. Right, we're about to turn right onto the D178. I need to not go sailing past that.
If you can't tell by my voice, I was a bit underwhelmed by this part of the Northern Vosges. I do need to go back and have a proper explore, but I know for sure there are way more interesting biking roads about 50 minutes north, just outside Kaiserslautern in Germany, so I'd recommend doing that instead.
That was a jolly little musical interlude. I think the lady behind me who pulled up in a BMW X3 wondered what the hell I was doing with a drone and a camera. Some solo dogging, maybe. That's what it's called. I'd say I've been analysing the motorbikes that go past here, and they're predominantly German and predominantly Tiger 1200s or V4 Multistradas. Haven't seen a single GS in the half hour since I've been here, which is a little bit surprising. I have to say, that's the thing I'm enjoying about this tour. It's the first tour I've ever done on my own. And I kind of built up in my head to be something a bit, not worried about, but you know, being left alone with my thoughts for 4 days is not usually the best thing, but it's been absolutely lovely just being able to stop off wherever, whenever I want, for as long as I want, to get some footage, to get some photos, to create some content, man, and then just go wherever I want in between. No arguments about lunch. No arguments about overtakes, dodgy or not. Anyway, let's keep cracking, get to the bitch. Yeah, my impressions of the Northern Vosges so far, it's not perhaps got as many iconic mountain roads as the Southern Vosges, but it definitely doesn't. But it's got more of a Black Forest vibe to it. It feels very German. I guess it has been German before, and then, well, yeah, at various points in history, shall we say. And the road surfaces are kind of these stones pressed loosely into the tarmac sort of thing, which isn't really my jam for having loads of confidence, but it's popular with bikers. I can see why. You do have the odd hairy pin, which is lovely if you like that sort of thing. Yeah, it's just not as dramatic as the Northern Vosges, so I see why everyone goes to the bit I was in the previous video, because it's prettier, and I think the roads, probably there's more decent roads with fewer towns but down there, but still, if you want a way to get to Germany or to start coming home, this is not going to bore you. This is the historic town of Sandal, I believe. Is it twinned with Croc? I don't know. I've kind of bollocks this junction exit up. Nice. We're coming in hard into the bottom end of bitch. Obviously I had to stop and get I've got 99 problems, but the road sign isn't one of them. But anyway, let's go to Germany. It's time. Northern Vosges, it was fine. It was good. There's some good riding, but it's just not up there with the Southern Vosges mountains. Hello. Hello. On the wrong side of the road, all because of a stupid joke I had to take a photo of. Right, so I'm an hour and a half away from Trier, which is my stop for tonight. I'm going to head straight there, the quickest route, because it is getting so hot and I can't handle any more town riding on this thing. It kicks out a lot of heat, does the M1000R, when you're doing 30 miles an hour through town and it's 30 degrees air temperature, 31. It just starts roasting your bum. And to be fair, that could be quite handy because I think I've got a bit of a wound on my arse from this bike, and it's being cauterized and heat sealed by the inline 4's shift cam majesty. Oh, there's a lady's bottom. I just saw a big cast iron lady's bum hole. Oh my god, my bum. Look, there you go. Can you see the ladies lifting up their dresses? How saucy. Very, very French. Outside bitch, there's some remains of the Maginot line, the big defensive line between France and Germany. I don't really have time to stop and have a look at it, but if you're coming back here, there's loads of that stuff to look at, and probably also some old bunkers to get lost in, which is always a joy, isn't it, in life? Why haven't you got any phone signal? I was trying to get you home for your dinner. Oh, sorry, I was stuck in the Maginot line. And we're in Germany. Da, 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 da. The air already smells more efficient, and look at this bridge, just like that's showing off, isn't it? It's like, welcome to our fantastic land. Here is a very simple bridge that we spent 10 billion euros on. Ich bin turning left in a second. Right, I need to get petrol before I get to Autobahn. Now, I have a tradition whenever I come to Germany, and it's to look at Chrysler PT Cruisers. Oh no, wait, it's to drink a delicious bottle of Spezi. It's Coke, it's orange. Weirdly, through this window I can see an advert for an S1000R for sale. Naked bike, 12,000 euros. To top conditionen in unseren Hause. What am I doing? I'm faffing. There used to be a, I'm sure there used to be a Kraftwerk song about the Autobahn. Can't remember what it's called though. Oh, it's a classic German slip road. Get your knee down, lads. As soon as it goes to restricted, I'll give it a go. I'm not promising anything, I know it's not very exciting to watch. It's only exciting to do in short bursts, but we'll see. Otherwise, I'll see you in Trier. Right, shall we go for a bloody Raz? Not a bloody one, hopefully. Let's go for it. Let's have another go, shall we? Not gonna lie, I'm getting a slightly sore neck sitting at 120. I saw 260 kilometers an hour. I think that's all my neck can take with the tank bag on. Don't know what that is in miles an hour, but on a naked bike it feels quite fast, I'm not going to lie, but it felt super stable. You can actually sense the wings doing their thing. Love it, love it. Anyway, that wasn't consumer advice, let's do something else. Talk about stunning Autobahn views, hopefully you can see that. I think that's the Moselle Valley. Lots of vineyards and the Moselle River running down it. I would say I've only done about 60 kilometers and it's filling up. I'm already down to 100 kilometers left in this tank. So yeah, doing 60 kilometers at those speeds used up about 120, 130 kilometers of fuel. I've also just been reminded of another reason touring in Europe is great. So I saw a German ambulance go past with its sirens on, and the Doppler effect on those things is hilarious. It's like kind of sounds sad as it goes past you. Where is the car park for the hotel? I think it is here. I am a parking space. Okay. In which case, I will bloody use you. Right, I'm now in downtown Trier. I'm on my phone. Now, the only reason I actually stay in Trier is not because it's a beautiful Roman city, but because there's a banging burger place called Burger Amt, and I'm going there now.
It might look about as revolting as refried brains, but this is actually delicious. Go and check it out if you're anywhere near Trier.
That's still one of the best burgers I've ever eaten in my life. It was so good. Managed to get some peanut sauce on the side. Right, anyway, I'm going to head back to my hotel room, do a proper wrap up. But if you ever come to Trier, probably don't go to this place. I've been there before. They only serve potatoes. Everything is with potatoes. They do lasagna, but with potatoes instead of pasta sheets.
And it's mostly awful and depressing and very German. But anyway, I'm going to go for a quick walk, burn off some calories, and I'll see you back in my hotel room for a wrap-up of the motorbike trip. Oh no, I've accidentally ordered some chocolate spaghetti ice cream. Trier's definitely not shit either. It has got that slightly modern retro look of many German cities for reasons that don't have anything to do with the RAF. Lovely fountain, proper gusher. Right, we're going to round out this Trier tourism guide with this, the Porta Negra, the Black Gate. This was actually awarded by the Romans to the Germans in 1983 to celebrate Nina's hit 99 Luftballons. She did pretty well, didn't she?
Right, I slightly ran out of time yesterday to do a proper outro, so here we are in my slightly messy hotel room in Trier. I just want to say thank you ever so much if you've watched this video series. I don't know how many videos it's going to be because I filmed way more stuff than I should have done. And hopefully the non-motorbike bits were interesting as well, because I'm a big history nut, as I said, and I just felt I should include some of the stuff rather than just being like, oh, here's a road, here's a road, here's a road, here's a motorbike. So yeah, thank you for tolerating me, thank you for watching, and if you could like and subscribe to this video, that would mean the world to me. This trip came together with literally less than a week's notice. I've been thinking about it for months, trying to get friends together. It just all fell apart. We were meant to be going to Wales at one point. I'm glad we didn't because the weather there has been awful. And I just love coming to Europe. And for me, it's nearly as affordable and as accessible as going to somewhere like Wales. And I'll do a full roundup video like I did last year of the costs and everything once I've got home. But yeah, today I'm just going to blast home on the motorway, stop to do a little bit of filming in Belgium. But other than that, the trip is over. It's been a great long weekend. It's now Monday morning. I've got work tomorrow. But yeah, it's been a real pleasure. And thank you to BMW for lending me the M1000R to do the trip on. What a bike. It's not for everyone. And it's certainly not for the delicate of anus. But it's been a great thing. But anyway, I've been Tim. Thanks for watching. I've got to tidy up and all the rest of it. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Oh yeah, go down to the comments to leave me the German word for yogurt-filled bread roll, because I've seen some disgusting breakfasts in the hotel this morning. Cheers!